Okay, let's tell you the context. That's the podcast Wow Experience, where we share our insights in XR industry, discuss the consulting business, create the lifetime strategy, and share our experience with community. My name is Paula. I'm design director currently right now creating Apple Vision Pro projects and build the AVP design club for developers for Apple Vision Pro.
And hi, thank you, Paul, for having me. My name is Tay Proto. I'm CEO of Virtual Reality Marketing. We are a consultancy, and our mission is really to help drive visibility and connections for XR innovation.
Wow. Let's begin from the start. How do you decide choose this strategy for your business?
Well, it's a very personal thing, actually. I've been, a CEO, and I started a founder. I started a games company and then a digital imaging company. Been working in 3D for a really long time. And in my case, the production was always the easy, cool part, but the biz dev was the hard part. Like the explaining to people, evangelizing, connecting with people. And I kind of realized that my problem was everyone
Mhm.
else's problem in the space. And that's what motivated us to do what we do now and really help with the visibility, help with the education, help with the connections, because that's so needed in the XR space.
Okay, can you share some numbers for understanding what kind of business you do?
Numbers, sure, with pleasure. Well, so we have very large, we believe we are the largest showcase of immersive companies. So numbers-wise, we've got more than 3,000 XR companies listed on our website, more than 750 case studies listed on the site as well. We have a very large community of 90,000 members. And we believe we're the largest group on XR on LinkedIn. And we just had a mastermind group with some of our members yesterday. It was great. It was a discussion with Nick Hill of Sohorse. And for the first time, we had the perfect 5x5 review by everyone. So 6 reviews, 6 people, 5x5, 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 and 5x5. That's numbers five.
Okay, I can share the screen and we can look at your site and discuss a little bit further. Okay, tell me a little bit about that company you find. How do you find them, and what kind is of business? What kind of amount of revenue they have?
Oh, so I mean, it's a lot of questions at the same time. What I can tell you is we've been, part of your answer is we've been doing this for a really long time. Hold on one sec. I'm with my dog, of course, and you always get interrupted by animals in the what was I saying? So we've been doing this for a really long time. The website has started all the way back since 2017, this version. And it's been updated over the years. So we've been identifying XR companies since 2015 or 16 and been adding them. And so that's how we find them. And after a while, we realized that the case studies were really important because when you just have a list of names, it doesn't mean anything. And again, people need so much education to understand what's XR and how it works and everything. It's very practical for us and everyone else to be able to go to the library and just say, hey, I'm in marketing or I'm in banking or I'm this and I'm that. What are the case studies and how does this thing work?
Cool.
Um, yeah, so that's, some of the answers to your question.
Share some insights for new business. Why someone decide to create something inside immersive space with new technology? How do you think how much opportunity new business have in this territory?
Oh, it's both massive and complicated. It's massive because XR technology, it's really exploding and people, after years of experimenting with it, I was reading this really interesting report by XR today saying that like 36% of companies have already completed their XR transformation. And and now it's not so much a question like 4 years. It was, is this thing a fad, and is this a toy or is it games or whatever, those kind of questions. And now it's definitely okay, this is here to stay. And the question has moved from um does this, are we going to use this thing to when are we going to implement and when are we going to roll out and how are we going to do those things? So what I'm trying to say is that we went past the pilot phase of discovering the technology and explaining to people that it makes sense. And now it's like, okay, it makes sense. And how am I doing it? That's the big opportunity. And now on to the challenges and what everybody keeps talking about. That's what we were talking about a lot on the mastermind yesterday, actually, is that to this day, still a lot of education is needed. It's very challenging for people to understand how to use the technology. We've worked with dozens of XR companies on their biz dev and strategy, and it's always the same thing. Selling in XR is not so much selling, but it's really educating. It's really taking the time to take people by the hand and to explain to them this is how it works. Those are the use cases. This is the benefits. Those are the ROI. And I was like yesterday was very interesting. We were on a call with the company leading on Roblox, Source, and they have all of the biggest clients and they're doing all of the biggest activations for like Walmart and Lamborghini and everything. And you'd think those guys are completely dialed down. And the co-founder on the call was telling us, you know what, to this day, we're still very much taking clients by the hand and we still don't have a brief from a client. Like clients are not in a position yet to come to you and say, hey, this is what we want. I want exactly this. And because they don't know, and that's okay. So it means that you, as the agency, you need to even tell them this is what you want and that's why you want it. And this is what the competition is
Yeah.
doing. And if you're not doing that, well, you're not going anywhere. So that's hard and that's complicated and that takes time.
And what's kind of the most successful commercial strategy do you see? For example, maybe some studios have some subscription model or some SaaS model or fixed model for the project. Or
Right. That's a broad question. That's a broad question. And I would say that the answer is all of the above because it's such a broad market and you have so many different companies out there. You've got content companies and you've got platform companies. And so sometimes if you have a platform, a subscription model is great for you. If you're a content company, you're probably going to charge some form of fees and you're going to have some form of structuring your deals with, how you charge your budget. Some companies will charge you like various fees. And when one of the questions is when you're pitching for a project, some companies, because clients don't know so much where they're going, will have like tiers options. And like maybe we have like the basic version, the medium version, and the luxury version with different price points. So one of the challenges of this industry, as usual, is that it's so broad. You can do so many different things for so many verticals that I would be really hard pressed to tell you this is the one model that's working because everything's out there.
let's discuss the most successful strategy. One of my partners tell me, for example, the consultant see that the most valuable models, for example, because you can give value for many teams and create this fast. Maybe you can share some your insights. What kind of company you think the most successful in this market, and what kind of numbers you think that's success can show at revenue?
Right. So in terms of model, what you want to do, so consulting is interesting, but what you want to do, from my perspective, is you want to try to productize as soon as possible. One of the challenge is to when you're fully consultant, like consulting and everything is custom, one of the challenges is that you basically have to reinvent the wheel for every client, and that's very challenging and that's not scalable. So the companies that are more successful, there will be companies that have some form of productized service that they can deploy and scale and have a platform and be able to execute on this, and that's very effective. And in terms of numbers, I don't know if I'm at liberty to discuss numbers with you, but um, yeah, I'm hard pressed to, again, you have numbers. Like what's interesting now is that numbers are all over the place. I can give you some of the biggest example, and that's a good one. I can give you this number. At the beginning of this year, um, Infinite Reality just raised $3 billion
Yeah.
for their XR business.
Yeah.
And they're on the road of acquisitions. They just acquire Obsess. Obsess themselves are working on, immersive stores for large brands like Ralph Lauren and luxury brands. I forgot the names, but a lot of those guys. And so, whereas before, for the past few years, we were in the XR space with smaller companies of like 5, 10, 20 people, now the numbers are actually getting seriously big for these guys. So again, for the most successful, well, Infinite Reality, probably most successful XR company of the year with this big raise. And then you have anything and everything in between.
Okay. And that mean if you want to be successful, you need to create your own product.
It's one way. It's definitely one way for it, creating your own product. It's challenging because when you do that, you need to, all of the companies who, start creating their platform and their products, they often end up in this, okay, we have a service business and we have a product business and kind of like jumping left foot, right foot between the two. Until the product matures enough, it's very often the case that you will have to do the service or you will have to use your own product. But it's certainly one way of scaling now to get to some place of stability where, yeah, you have a product or a platform that's scalable, that's available across a bunch of variety of platforms and headsets.
If I understand correct, the main struggle for all this agency that's finds their clients.
It's a big one, yes, absolutely. It's a
Yeah.
big one, and it's a big one also because, like, for all of the clients we consulted with, um, it's not like you have they are also building their offering at the same time. So a big challenge is that you have variables everywhere. And so you need to find clients, but at the same time, most of these guys are building their offering. It's not like, I keep using this image of if you're Nike, you're selling shoes. And if you're selling shoes, you don't need to explain people what shoes are, and you've done this forever. Whereas these guys, they're building the product, they're building the offering, and they're selling to the clients and they're educating the clients at the same time. And on top of that, you need to pivot because you're trying one direction and then you realize, oh, maybe that's not the market. And then there's COVID and everything changes. So lots of variables everywhere.
Do you see the most successful marketing strategy for this agency?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question. Do you see?
Do you see the most successful strategy, marketing strategy for this agency? How they can create, for example, content strategy, find
All
their
right,
clients? Yeah.
right. So what's where I mean, you want to get out, you want to get out there, you want to connect with people. There's a lot of action on LinkedIn. Because you need to educate people, because you need to connect with people, you want to have your content play in place. You want to spend time on LinkedIn, connecting with people. Talking is also very important. And education, education, education. So I can't stress enough the importance of case studies, like having successful client stories, case studies, being able to explain why it's their valuable, and then being able to amplify it on social, talking about it at events, and also reaching out very specifically to certain people and say, hey guys, we're doing this thing, and we think that it's relevant to what you are doing, and get out there, get the message out there.
Cool. You have a lot of creators and projects at your site. Maybe you have some numbers. How do you think the size of the market, the size of these all projects, how much money cost all this project in total?
So that's a lot of questions again in one. I can give you answers on the project. So on the last part, for instance, on the cost of the project, we've been working on a study called How Much is XR? It's been really interesting. And top of my head, we've come up with some interesting numbers. So for AR experiences, we've had average prices last year in the $28,000 for XR. It's difficult to quote them. I don't want to just give the wrong numbers, but a ballpark for the XR web XR experience was in the 58 or something $1,000 on based on the figures that were disclosed to us by the respondents. It was a little less than 100 respondents from most countries. And when you go on like games activations, activations on platforms like Roblox and everything, it's going way up to something like 300,000.
Hmm.
So depending on the type of projects, you have like various sweet spots, 25,000, 50 to 70,000, and then going way up to 300,000 for the more complex, more gaming activations. Those are kind of, industry ballparks at the moment.
Cool, cool, nice. And usually that's some fixed price for the project or subscription models.
So those are more like fixed fees if you're developing a project.
Okay.
If you have like subscription model, again, there are so many platforms, everyone has different prices. It would be difficult to just summarize it in 2 seconds.
Let's discuss a little bit about Apple Vision Pro technology and share your thoughts about this kind of technology and how much clients do you reach for this technology.
Right. So I think the Vision Pro is two things at the moment. On one hand, it's a fantastic developer kit. It's a fantastic um, blueprint of where we're going, of what you want to have. It's really showing the direction. It's been great. For instance, just having the Vision Pro has forced Meta to up their game a lot on the Quest. You had a lot of updates on the Quest over the last year, and they really improved on the UI. There's been the Samsung and Android XR headset, also taking a lot of inspiration from what the Vision Pro has been doing. And so I think on the really positive side, Apple has done this fantastic job of creating a vision of where we all want to be for a spatial computer. And that's really helping. That's helping them, and that's helping the whole industry. And also the chipset and the chips you have inside of the Vision Pro are so powerful. They're much more powerful than the competition, that you can have really sophisticated and advanced and refined graphics, and you can't get to this level of graphical fidelity on hardware like the Quest. That's on one side. On the other side, definitely a road sign towards the future, and it's not really a product for today. And so people are kind of looking at the sales of Vision Pro, and like recently, there's been a lot of the Vision Pro is dead and everything. And I think that's looking at it in a very short-sighted way. The Vision Pro is more an indication of where we want to go. And we don't want to take at face value the sales number of today, because that's not what it's about. It's not about how many did we sell like this day, and is it a success today or not today. It's a long play. It's something that's going to unfold over the long time. And so that's an important nuance. And talking of clients, well, some clients, some corporate clients, I was talking with a luxury company recently. They absolutely love it because of the visual fidelity. Like, for instance, for luxury, you want to have the absolute best visual fidelity. And so you can do a lot of that on Vision Pro and experiment on a lot of things. So a lot of those corporate types, some of the studios we work with also, they love creating those very sophisticated prototypes. But Vision Pro at the moment, it's more, I mean, to answer to your question, and my experience, at least what I see, is more large type corporate clients who are experimenting again on future vision, on very high fidelity projects. So for instance, recently you had Porsche. They did this fantastic Vision Pro app to explain the new technology behind the new hybrid engines in the new 911, for the press. And it was this like special event, but it was a very small distribution. So we are for Vision Pro, it's like it's early, it's testing those advanced, sophisticated use case for some of those clients, but it's not yet in the mainstream and it's going to come. It's going to come in a
Cool.
few years.
Okay, amazing. Let's summarize our discussion. First of all, if you want to create some agency, create consultancy agency, first of all, find your clients, educate your clients, tell them client, educate your clients, create your product. I think that's the valuable point. And I think find your niche for this market and create your marketing strategy in this position.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. After our call, I will send you the results of our discussion and create the post in our club and share with others our discussion.
Cool. Thank you so much, Paul. How do
Yeah.
you like it?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you too.
How did you like it?
Very, very. For me, that's very inspiring. Understand how we can create something in this new market and understand the strategy. Because for me, that's some kind of art. Why we want to create something in this market? Because that's creative strategy, and I want to understand how we can create the more valuable for market and reach amount of success, create our product. And for that, I want to discuss with experts like you and share this journey, because I think we can create something in this stage of industry, and in next step it will be some biggest project on the market, and that's, I think, from my side, how I see the valuable value of our discussion.
Cool. Okay. Well, I hope it helped. I like to talk about those things. That's a lot of what we do in the mastermind. Like, if you like this, we had this excellent discussion yesterday with Nick Hill of Sohorse, and there was all the things we were talking about, like talking about business. That's what we do in our group.
What do you think about content strategy? For example, some agency can create content about their project, how they work, about some vlogs. Uh, do you find some example where some content strategy can works and receive new clients for this content?
No, I mean, I told you, that's exactly what I said. Content is super important in Excel. Content is super important because short version of this is that, another way of saying it is people hate being sold to. And so you're super solicited, you're getting emails and messages left and right, bombarded from everything. And what people do now, they're smart and they want to, educate themselves and make their decisions. And so they're going to find all the content they can about you. And you've got stats on this. And people will give you an opportunity to talk to you only after reading the content about you. So
Yeah.
if you don't have the right content, another way of saying this is that if you don't have the right content out there talking about what you do and who you are and da 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 da, most likely, in most cases, you will not even have the opportunity to talk to people you want to talk to because they will
Yeah.
not give you the chance. It's that
Mhm.
important. So yeah, hell yeah, you want to have the right content.
Maybe you have some insights about right format. What's the most popular, for example, review of the project? Some,
You you
yeah,
you ask that you ask a lot of those questions like what's the number one, what's the most popular, and I'm sorry because I give you always the same answers, which is there's not like one best. You have so many things to do and so many flavors that you can mix. It's not about finding the best, it's about finding the thing that works for you. And so there's so many different companies with so many different agendas and so many different audiences. And somebody like that's what we were talking about with Nick yesterday about what they're doing. He was comparing the audiences on Roblox versus Fortnite versus Zepeto and everything. And what do you do? And those guys are very much into fashion, and those guys are very much into that. And so maybe the fashion people, you want to do like video blog on TikTok, and
Yeah,
maybe you know. And so there's not a best like the best strategy to talk to the fashion people is not going to be the best strategy to talk to the industrial people.
yeah.
You see what
But
I mean?
interesting find the biggest financial strategy with success in this market. Understand? Okay, for example, that people make some vlogs and that work for their industry and reach some millions of views. Because I think that's very interesting industry with immersive experience,
Mhm.
and I want find an example with millions of views and
Well, if you want to go there, like the obvious one is
yeah,
YouTube.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah,
serious. Like YouTube is a very big one. It's the number two search engine behind Google, and people search for everything on YouTube. And especially if you need to educate on stuff, like everything XR is very visual by definition, and it's 3D and it's sexy and everything.
yeah,
So YouTube is a great place to start. I was about to say TikTok is a good place to start until recently for the US. Yeah, that's part of your answer. But again, I mean, my advice, having played this game for a long time, is and that's why on the website, for instance, we cover 20 different verticals. You've got like thinking there's the best is not the right way around it. It's like you want to figure out what works for you, and there's an infinity of flavors.
yeah. Cool, cool, cool. That's very interesting. Find the right strategy and create some cool products and media business and connect some consultancy agency to follow this experience. I think if we want to create something in this area, that's the key moment. Find your clients, find your partners, create your product, and give some value for this industry.
Absolutely. But I mean, there's plenty to do, and it's only going to get better in the next year. So it's definitely a great time to get involved.
Thank you. Thank you one more time. Uh, Good luck and the best for you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.